You know that feeling? Trying to keep up with tech news, especially AI, feels like drinking from a fire hose sometimes.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
just a lot. And figuring out what it actually means for jobs. That's the big question, isn't it?
Exactly. So, if that sounds like you, well, you're in the right place. Welcome to this deep dive. We're aiming to cut through some of that noise today.
Yeah, we're focusing specifically on how AI and automation might be reshaping the job market, particularly in India.
Right. And to do that, we've pulled together quite a mix of sources. We're not just looking at one angle here.
No, definitely not. We've got articles from the Economic Times, a pretty detailed piece from Drishti IAS. We have a NASCOM report.
That's the National Association of Software and Service Companies, for context.
Right. And then there's this really interesting YouTube discussion with a founder that caught our eye.
Oh, yeah, that one was fascinating. Plus, a policy brief from RIS, that's the Research and Information System for Developing Countries.
So, we're covering economic reports, industry views, an entrepreneur's take, and even the policy angle. It's quite a range.
And the mission for this deep dive? Simple, really. We want to pull out the most crucial insights for you.
We're talking about the potential job losses, sure, but also the new jobs that might pop up and, the bigger picture, the social and economic side of things.
All without drowning you in data. We want you to walk away with a clearer picture of what's potentially coming down the line in India.
Okay, so where do we start? Maybe with that pretty strong warning that's been doing the rounds.
Yeah, let's dive right in there. Arindam Paul, he's the founder of Atomberg. He put out this post on LinkedIn, and it really caused a stir.
What was the main point he was making?
He's basically warning that AI could, and this is a big number, potentially wipe out 40 to 50% of white-collar jobs in India.
Wow, 40 to 50%, that's huge. Which sectors was he focusing on?
Primarily IT and the BPO, the business process outsourcing sector, major employment hubs.
And his concern wasn't just the job loss itself, right? He connected it to something else.
Exactly. He's worried that India's manufacturing sector, as it stands, just isn't creating enough well-paying jobs to absorb that kind of hit.
Okay. So not enough jobs in that 3 to 6 lakh per year range to compensate.
Precisely. He argues that even if big IT companies adapt and maybe even grow their revenue with AI, they'll likely do it with far fewer people.
Which then has a knock-on effect. Fewer middle-class jobs, less spending power.
Right. He thinks it could seriously stunt the growth of India's middle class and hit consumer spending, which has been such a key economic engine.
It raises that fundamental question, doesn't it? Why are companies pushing AI so hard? Is it just about the bottom line?
Well, that's Paul's critique. He suggests this intense focus on cost-cutting and efficiency through AI might be missing a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Which is?
If you replace too many workers, who's left with the money to actually buy the products and services these efficient companies are making? It's sort of a self-defeating loop, potentially.
That's a really interesting point about economic interconnectedness. Did his post get much reaction?
Oh, definitely. A lot of debate. Many people agreed, saying this kind of AI disruption feels almost inevitable unless we see a massive, rapid creation of new types of jobs.
But I imagine there were differing views, too.
Yeah, for sure. Some argued the impact might be more concentrated, hitting those digital and IT roles hardest.
While maybe manufacturing or non-digital sectors could be less affected or even find new opportunities in R&D or something.
Exactly. But that core concern kept coming up. The potential for AI job losses leading to reduced spending, hurting businesses in the long run. It taps into a real anxiety.
Okay, so that's one pretty alarming perspective. How does this potential situation in India stack up globally? Let's bring in that broader economic view.
Good idea. The Drishti IAS analysis offers some useful context here. They cite IMF data.
Right, the International Monetary Fund. What did they find?
That nearly 40% of jobs globally have some exposure to AI.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is the breakdown. Well, advanced economies, they have the highest exposure, around 60%. Emerging markets, like India, are around 40%. And low-income countries, about 26%.
So on the surface, maybe less immediate exposure for India compared to, say, the US or Europe.
Potentially. But here's the catch the analysis points out. Emerging and low-income countries often lack the infrastructure and the highly skilled workforce needed to really benefit from AI.
So even if fewer jobs are directly replaced right away, they might struggle to leverage AI for growth. That could widen the gap.
Exactly. It's a crucial distinction. It's not just about job losses, but also about the capacity to adapt and capitalize.
That makes sense. Did the Drishti piece mention any other global forecasts?
It did. They brought in Goldman Sachs, who estimated up to 300 million jobs globally could be at risk from AI.
300 million. Wow.
Yeah, and a University of Pennsylvania report highlighted vulnerability specifically for white-collar roles around the $80,000 salary mark. Think customer service, accounting, sales, research, retail jobs.
Okay, so hitting those mid-level professional roles hard.
Seems like it. And McKinsey had predicted back in 2023 that maybe 14% of workers worldwide might need to completely change careers because of AI.
These are definitely significant numbers, suggesting a major global workforce shift is underway.
No doubt about it. So let's zoom back in on India, specifically that massive IT sector. Given those global trends, what are the potential impacts there?
Well, the Drishti analysis does flag a warning from some technologists about a possible white-collar recession hitting India maybe as soon as 2027.
A white-collar recession. What's the thinking behind that?
The idea is as companies really push to become AI ready, retraining staff, integrating AI tools, the actual demand for some traditional IT skill sets could drop off quite sharply.
That sounds like a serious worry for a huge chunk of the Indian workforce. What about the other side of the coin, blue-collar jobs? Manufacturing, healthcare, etc.
There, the outlook seems a bit different. AI and robotics will automate tasks, no question. But the consensus for now seems to be less about mass job losses.
More about enhancing productivity.
Exactly. More about making processes more efficient rather than wholesale replacement of people. The economic survey mentioned in the Drishti analysis supports this.
How so?
It noted that industrial robots currently just don't have the flexibility or cost effectiveness to fully take over many human roles in Indian manufacturing.
Right. A person on an assembly line can adapt, troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Things a robot might struggle with, at least for now.
Precisely. But that doesn't mean AI isn't making inroads. It definitely is, across different sectors.
Like where?
The service sector is a big one. Drishti highlights chatbots, virtual assistants. I think Amazon's Alexa in India, they're really changing customer service.
Handling those routine inquiries, offering instant support.
Yeah. And then in healthcare, AI is being used for diagnostics, analyzing medical scans, powering telemedicine platforms.
Like the Aroja Setu app during the pandemic.
Exactly. That kind of application helps extend healthcare reach, especially to rural areas.
It's interesting how diverse the applications are. But let's circle back to the core jobs question. Amidst these warnings, is there any optimism? Any talk of AI creating jobs?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely another side to this story. The World Economic Forum, for instance, projected that AI could actually create 12 million more jobs globally than it displaces by 2025.
Okay, 12 million more. That's a significant counterpoint.
Oh.
What about projections specifically for India?
Well, back in 2019, MeitY, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, put out a report.
And what did that suggest?
They projected that by 2025, digital tech adoption, including AI, could lead to maybe 40 to 45 million workers being redeployed through reskilling.
Redeployed, meaning moving into new or altered roles.
Exactly. And crucially, they also projected the creation of around 20 million entirely new jobs in sectors like IT/BPM, manufacturing, agriculture, and transport logistics.
Those are pretty big numbers on the creation side, too. So reskilling seems absolutely central to this optimistic scenario.
It's critical. And NASCOMCOM, in a 2020 report, echoed this positive outlook. They see AI and data science boosting India's GDP significantly by 2025.
Well, which sectors did they highlight for growth?
Key ones were consumer goods retail, agriculture, banking, insurance, but also telecom, media IT, energy, transport, auto manufacturing, healthcare. Pretty broad-based potential.
So the picture is, yes, some traditional roles might shrink or change, but AI integration across industries could also fuel demand for totally new skills and roles.
That's right. We're already seeing it growing demand for data scientists, machine learning experts, AI developers.
And things like smart factories needing people to manage AI systems.
People to manage, maintain, troubleshoot those AI-driven production lines. Plus, as AI tools become more accessible, it empowers entrepreneurs to start new ventures, creating jobs that way too.
It really sounds like a fundamental transformation of the job market. Some doors closing, others opening, but maybe needing different keys to those new skills.
That's a good way to put it. But we also have to talk about the challenges of job displacement, especially in the Indian context. It's not straightforward.
What are the specific hurdles when we talk about displacement in India?
Well, first, the sheer scale of retraining needed. Think about India's massive manufacturing workforce, textiles, auto, electronics. Upskilling millions of people in those labor-intensive jobs is a huge task.
And there are estimates on potential displacement there, right?
Yes, the McKinsey Global Institute estimated up to 60 million manufacturing jobs in India could be vulnerable to automation by 2030.
60 million just in manufacturing. That's staggering.
It really is. And it's not just manufacturing. Even in IT and services, the automation of routine tasks, basic coding, system maintenance could hit entry-level jobs hard.
And then there's the informal sector, which is enormous in India.
Absolutely critical point. Around 90% of India's workforce is informal. These workers often lack job security, formal contracts, access to retraining, social safety nets. They're incredibly vulnerable to disruptions like AI.
What could that lead to?
Potentially increased rural to urban migration if jobs become more concentrated in tech hubs. That puts pressure on cities and could worsen income inequality.
Even agriculture, the biggest employer, might see changes eventually.
It's the least automated now, but AI does have potential for big efficiency gains there long term, which could eventually affect employment levels too.
So while new jobs might emerge, managing the transition and protecting vulnerable groups is a massive challenge.
Which brings us squarely to solutions. What strategies can actually help mitigate these risks and help India adapt?
What are the key things being discussed on the policy front?
Top of the list. Massive investment in upskilling and reskilling. The Drishti piece mentioned an upskilling trends report showing most engineers feel their jobs are at risk from AI and see upskilling as vital.
So the workforce itself recognizes the need.
They do, and government programs like the Skill India Mission, PMKZY, offering training in AI, ML, data analytics, these are crucial.
Proactively equipping people with future-ready skills.
Exactly, alongside things like the Digital India Mission promoting digital literacy overall. But it's not just skills.
What else is needed?
A strong social safety net, especially for informal workers, things like unemployment support, health insurance access. Formalizing more jobs helps too.
Providing a cushion during the transition.
Right. And actively fostering AI innovation is key, supporting startups through incubators, funding R&D via initiatives like the Adult Innovation Mission or NIT Aayog's National Strategy for AI. That drives new job creation.
So it's a mix. Skills, safety nets, and innovation support.
Absolutely. Plus, inclusive growth policies bridging the urban-rural divide, focusing on agriculture and MSMEs where so many people work, encouraging AI entrepreneurship everywhere.
And making sure education keeps pace.
Definitely. Aligning the national education policy, initiatives like Future Skills Prime, YUVI, ensuring the next generation is prepared for this new reality.
Okay, that covers the broader economic and policy views. Let's switch gears now and bring in that entrepreneur's perspective from the YouTube discussion. That was Vaibhav Sisanti, right?
Yes, and his take was really hands-on, almost a boots-on-the-ground view of how fast things are moving.
He started off quite relatable, admitting he felt like an AI illiterate not long ago.
Which many of us can probably identify with. But then he just dove into how AI is already writing code, generating startup ideas super fast, using these things called AI agents.
Right, the agents concept was key. Not just AI assistants answering questions, but AI actually doing tasks autonomously.
Yeah, he mentioned specific coding agents like Cursor, Windsurf, Bolt, and OpenAI's advanced model, O3.
And the statistic he shared about his own company, Growth School, that was pretty eye-opening.
You mean the 65% of code already being written by AI? Using a 2-year-old model? That's wild.
It is, and his prediction that AI could be writing almost all code within maybe 6 months to a year.
That's incredibly disruptive, especially for India's IT sector. He directly questioned if India's cost arbitrage advantage, the lower labor cost benefit, can even survive that.
It's a really critical question. And it led to his point about the future programming language basically being English.
Yeah, the skill shifting to prompting, being able to clearly tell the AI what you want it to do in natural language.
So less about knowing Python or Java, more about being a good communicator with the machine.
Seems to be the direction he sees things going. And he offered a really practical framework for professionals to start using AI now.
What was that?
Identify your tasks, figure out which ones AI can do, build your personal AI toolkit of useful tools, and then really learn to master those tools. Go deep.
He also had those levels of AI understanding, right? Like stages of adoption.
Yes. From level 0 basic task automation up to level 5, building custom AI solutions. And he stressed going beyond just text AI.
Understanding image, video, audio generation too, using diffusion models and tools like Midjourney, Runway ML.
Exactly. Becoming versatile. He explained diffusion models as AI creating realistic visuals from text prompts. It's about leveraging the full spectrum.
And all this, he argued, opens up big opportunities for AI consultants and these services as software businesses.
Right, where AI does the heavy lifting, but humans manage the process, the clients, the quality control. a new service model.
His main message seemed to be about urgency and curiosity. Reevaluate everything, embrace the tools, become a super employee, keep learning constantly.
A powerful call to action, definitely. It really highlights the speed of change from someone living it.
Okay, so we've heard the alarm bells, the broader economics, the optimism, the challenges, the entrepreneur's view. Let's round this out with the policymaker perspective from that RIS policy brief,
Right, the Research and Information System for Developing Countries. Their brief framed AI as part of this new automation age, Industry 4.0.
where machines can handle tasks needing judgment, not just repetition.
Exactly. They acknowledged the long history of fears about technological unemployment, but also noted that solid India-specific research on AI's actual impact is still relatively limited compared to global studies.
But they did compile findings from various existing reports, didn't they? That was the general tone.
It was quite mixed, but leaned slightly optimistic, especially in the medium to long term. They mentioned a 2017 Capgemini finding that India was actually a leader in implementing AI at scale back then.
Interesting. Any specific projections?
Accenture in 2017 projected a significant boost to India's GVA by 2035 without a long-term negative hit to overall employment.
Okay.
And a CIS report in 2018 even estimated a potential increase in jobs in organized manufacturing and services by 2022 due to AI.
So some positive early signals there.
Yes, but they also acknowledged the other side reports from Gent and PwC warning about potential job losses, specifically in ITITES, from automating those routine tasks India often handle.
Which aligns with some of the earlier concerns we discussed.
Precisely. The brief mentioned the official task force identifying key AI impact areas, manufacturing, fintech, healthcare, agriculture, and it cited a NASSCOM FISH-EY projection from 2017 about new roles emerging but needing radically different skills, especially in IT, BPM, and BFSI.
Did it touch on rural job creation potential?
It did. Mention a Broadband India Forum estimate from 2019 suggesting significant rural job creation possible through IoT and AI in farming and healthcare.
So again, that tension between displacement and creation.
Exactly. The brief summarized MITE's 2019 forecast of both redeployment via reskilling and new job creation. It noted positive views from Indian business leaders in a 2019 Microsoft IDC survey.
What about studies looking at productivity?
An iCrier finding from 2020 suggested AI adoption boosts productivity. This might mean short-term job replacement, but potential for long-term creation as the economy grows.
And there was an Intel survey too.
Yeah, 2020. Over 70% of respondents in India expected their company headcount to increase in the next 2 years because of AI integration.
So summing up the RIS brief's perspective.
Generally, a promising outlook for net job creation in the medium to long run, but definitely acknowledging short-term losses are possible, maybe likely in some areas, and underlining, again, the absolute necessity of reskilling.
What were their main policy recommendations?
3 key areas. 1, major focus on capacity building and skills online training, updated curricula, industry partnerships. 2, the need for robust social policy, thinking about things like livelihood insurance, maybe even universal basic income to support displaced workers.
And the third.
A strong call for more India-specific research. We need better data on how AI is impacting different sectors across India to make truly effective policies.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, it's clear AI's impact on jobs in India is, well, complicated. There's no single easy answer.
Definitely not. We've seen the undeniable disruption, the very real potential for job displacement, especially hitting those white-collar IT roles and routine tasks hard.
But then there's this flip side, considerable opportunity for new kinds of work, big productivity gains, and AI driving economic growth overall.
The clear message cutting across almost all perspectives, though, is the need for proactive adaptation.
For you, the listener, that really seems to boil down to focusing on continuous learning. It's about upskilling in these new tech areas, staying curious.
Absolutely. Things are changing so fast. Being adaptable, informed, and willing to learn new skills looks like the crucial factor for navigating what's coming.
So let's leave you with a final thought to chew on. Considering everything we've discussed, the speed of AI, the varying predictions, what specific skills or maybe areas of expertise do you think will be the most valuable, the most resilient in India's job market over, say, the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, what's going to be truly future-proof, if anything can be? It's definitely something worth thinking about as you continue to track this space.